So we got NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, used to kind of create a lot of safety in Europe. So America now has this thing with NATO. Back in 2011, Defense Secretary Gates basically told Europe, hey, you guys got to pay your fair share in Europe for this whole alliance thing, or it's going to fall apart. Only 5 countries then were meeting that 2% GDP defense spending target they had agreed to. Fast forward to today, and NATO is finally hitting that 2% mark. But America is now saying we want 5%. 5%. It's like when you finally pay your friend back the $20 that you owes and he says, actually, no, I'm going to need 50. But here's the real issue behind all this budget talk. Americans don't really care about defending Europe like we used to. I'm just saying, I'm not telling you, it's just what happened. So think about it. When NATO started after World War II, America was making half of the world's stuff. Now we're down to about 16%. Now, Europe built all these cushy welfare states while we paid for their security. No wonder some Americans are saying, what the hell are we doing here? It's like that friend who keeps mooching off your Netflix account for a bunch of years and then gets mad when you ask him to chip in for the subscription. So that makes sense. Now, the thing is, we're running out of people who remember why NATO was so important. The folks who lived through World War II and the early Cold War. A lot of them are gone now, and their living memories disappearing faster than, well, I guess my hairline. But the current president doesn't read history books. He's what experts call post literate. He lives in a world of tweets and screens, but he doesn't dive into narrative history. So NATO is now some random letters to him, and it's not the result of our struggle against, say, Germany and the funny mustache guy. Geography is also an important factor here. America has always been a continent facing both the Atlantic and the Pacific, and the Europeans never really fully got that about us. Now, in America's mind, Greenland and Panama make much more sense as priorities than some alliances across the ocean. I personally don't care, and I don't think they're going to make that much of a difference, but some people like that. And technology itself is shrinking the world. Now, this should be a reason to strengthen alliances. But right now in America, we think it's time to build regional spheres of influence in a world that'll be in perpetual conflict. So we're kind of expecting war, so we're retreating early. Now, you could get a greater North America out of this, from Panama to Greenland and Canada taking orders from us. That would be like Manifest Destiny 2.0 going north south instead of east west. Now, meanwhile, Europe is going to be getting weaker and more divided. You've got Russia to the east, migration challenges from the south. And basically, this guy, Robert Kaplan, a geopolitical expert, said as Europe disappears, Eurasia coheres. That means Asia is getting more powerful. That makes Europe less valuable in America's mental map. Now, if NATO members had listened to the America back in 2011 and boosted their spending, well, maybe we wouldn't have the ammunition against them now. So, this post literate president in America poses a challenge to Europe that we haven't faced since 1941. And the Cold War era might end up looking like the good old days in comparison with what's kind of going on. There's already a lot of hacking and sabotage and all kinds of stuff, plus the war in Ukraine. I'm not saying who's right or wrong, just trying to explain there's a little drama with NATO, and you got to understand the problem before you can fix it. Or at least you don't want to be surprised when it blows up in your face. Now, by the way, missiles and terrorists can reach anywhere. So today you cannot really isolate a country and become perfectly safe. You want to have good relationships with a lot of people.